we are going to be talking about how to stand out in a competitive job market. So if this is your first time, my name is Alicia Perkins, and I help mid-professionals land senior roles. And so I definitely want to talk to you guys this morning about how to stand out in a competitive job market. And so let's go ahead and get started, right? So what I want to talk about is how competitive this whole job space is right now. So if you have felt that the time that we're in when it comes to either trying to look for a job or things of that sort, if you can feel that it's super competitive, if you can feel like Alicia, if you're like Alicia, things have changed. Like things don't really feel like they once did. Things may seem a little bit more harder than they was in the past. That's the thing. Even if you don't even feel it, it has changed. But just because something has changed, it does not mean that you cannot find a job, right? And this is not a time to fear, but this is a time for you guys to get prepared and for you to really be clear. I cannot stress to you guys how important it is for you to be clear on what it is that you want. Because in hard times like this, y'all, people tend to shy away from what it is that they want, right? Because they're like, girl, times is tough out here, right? But you don't understand that in times like this is the time for you to get super, super clear on what you want and really go all in on what you want. This is not the time to just be kind of like, oh, I'll do this, or I don't know, I think I might want to do that. This is a time to get super, super clear. And I say that because in times like this, it is going to take more work. It is going to take you having to step a little bit outside of that box that you've been in. And it's going to take you being able to have some grit. And so if you're one that you're not really clear on what you want, or you're not sure, it's going to be easy to get frustrated. It's going to be easy for you to get overwhelmed. It's going to be easy. But when you start to really lean in on what you want and you know what you want, now you have something to really press through with. So let's talk a little bit about this space that we're in. I will say this, it is getting harder to get noticed. It is getting a little bit more harder to stand out. And so I don't know if you guys, I was talking to a client this week and I was telling her, I was like, hey, the actual workforce that we are in is rapidly changing. And I told her, I said, if you're not in a place to where you can adjust, if you're not in a place where you're able to really change with how things are starting to change, I say you will be left behind, right? Because I hear a lot of people tend to say, oh, I don't want to do that. That's too much. People say things like, I don't know if it really takes all that. And it's not so much about it being a lot of work. It's about you being able to step outside of what you know. And it's about you being able to get clear on what you want and how to be able to express what it is that you want. And so it may seem like, man, Alicia, I have to just do a lot, but it's not necessarily about you doing a lot more than it is about you being in a mindset that it's time to just level up, because you can only get so far inside of that little comfort zone. But the ironic thing is that this job space that we're in, the people that you see that are able to get results are the people that are wanting to step outside of that. And sometimes it doesn't mean that you have to do anything extreme. It could just simply mean that you have to do things that maybe you had not done in the past. It's so important for you to start to realize that you're going to have to be able to distinguish yourself from other people, not only if you're in a job search, but also in the workplace also. What's happening is that the people that have a job, they are getting really just either very, very scared, or they're getting really just comfortable with, well, I'm good. And so, but what tends to happen is you start to just kind of ease your way through things and you do not make yourself competitive. And that is going to hurt you. And so I was talking to somebody else early this week, and I was saying that even with the clients that I've had to work with in the last probably 6 to 8 weeks, they are even having to find themselves to really lean on more skills. And this is why it's so important, you guys, to not get stuck in a field, to not get stuck in a certain job title, for you to be able to know what are those fields that are in demand right now. But again, staying in that whole zone of, I just want to just be safe, that is going to cost you money. That is going to cost you time. And that puts you in a very, very, very vulnerable spot when you're not trying to think like, okay, what does the next 6 months look like for me? And I know that can be overwhelming for some people, right? They're like, 6 months, child. Even the thought of next week, I get stressed out. But again, it's about you being proactive and not reactive. And most people end up being reactive when they get comfortable in their role and they're not able to start to see, what does the next 6 months look like for me? And now I'm starting to see that people who are maybe felt very safe in their job, all of a sudden now they have to go look for one. and they're in this state of shock because they haven't even been in the job space in the last 5, 7, 10 years. You got to start to think about what are the gaps that you have and what is it, what part of this do you actually play in, right? And it's also very, very important for you guys to make sure that you're even staying up to date with even the trends that are happening in your field. This is the time to master. This is the time to master and hone in on your skills. This is the time for you to start getting clear about where you are and where is it that you want to go. Because if you're not clear, you're going to find yourself being swept up in all of this. And that is why a lot of people tend to fear, is because they don't know what's next. But you can operate your career in a way to where you do know what's next. And when I say know what's next, it does not necessarily mean like I got steps A, B, C all the way to Z, but you at least know where you are going. Okay. Now, what I want to talk about is you being able to understand what is all of the noise that you hear right now. We know that the market is very competitive right now. We know that there is a lot of noise happening, but what is exactly all of this noise? One thing that I will say is two things. It is more people have now flooded. Now there are more people out there that are needing to look for work. I think I saw this week that Facebook laid off another 5,000 or 7,000 this week. And then also there are less opportunities. So all of this, I don't know if you guys remember, maybe 6 months ago, a year ago, it actually was the exact opposite, to where they had all of these open roles, right? But they did not have enough people to fill them. Well, now things have started to shift. And this is what I was telling people. You've got to be able to adjust to what is happening. What's happening now is that you have a whole lot of roles. I mean, opposite. There is a lot of folks who are wanting to look for a job, right? But there are not as many roles. Again, being able to adjust to those trends, right? I personally don't think that this is going to last long. When I say long, it could be like another year and a half-ish, right? And I say this because of just different reports and stuff that I read. What is going to happen in between that time? And you have to start to think about, what is the mindset that I need to be in right now? Is this a time for you to build, meaning build up that skill set, work on those gaps, get focused and really lean in on honing in on those skills? So when all of this is over with, now you're able to step out strong and really just capture those things that you want? Or is it the time where it's the exact opposite? You like, no, I'm ready to go all in on me. Like, meaning that I'm ready to make that move now. Because it's the thing, there isn't one that's wrong or one that's right. It's about you being able to identify where you are now. I do not think that choice needs to be based upon fear, though, because it could be easy to say, okay, what I'm going to do now is just focus on just building up some skill sets. So when the next year comes, I'm good. And now I'm in a much stronger place. Okay. But ask yourself, why are you thinking like that? Because the reality is the opportunities, guys, are still out there. The amount of opportunities may have gone down, but the opportunities are still out there. I'm seeing all week on my timeline on LinkedIn how people are announcing that they have new jobs. So the opportunities are out there. So this is not a time to have a mindset of just scarcity, thinking that there's not enough for me. No, this is a time to say, hey, it's time to just step up the things that I've been doing. But ask yourself, what is the mindset that you want to actually be in? Now, the clients that I work with, right now I have both. I have some people that are really in just the whole growth phase, the whole development phase, and I have some that are in the real strategy phase. Okay, let's get with it, right? And so start to think about where you are now. And so the clients that I work with now that are really in the phase of just, hey, I want to take this time to just plan. I want to take this time to see those areas that are there that are not as strong as they need to be. Let's really hone in on those areas. And the reason that they're like this is because there isn't any really lack happening, for instance, meaning that they actually enjoy their job. They are being paid well. They do like the actual skills that they need right now. It's just that they are in the mindset of, okay, let me just prepare for my next move in a more casual pace, right? Because there isn't any, oh my God, things are bad mode. Whereas the other side, they're like, no, Alicia, I'm not being paid the money I should be being paid. Everything around me is a lot more expensive, things of that sort. So you have to be able to identify where you are now and what is the urgency that you have to move with. And it's not so much of, should I be doing anything right now? The question is what you should be doing right now, because everybody should be doing something. Everybody should be in a mind and a mode of what can I do to prepare for what's next? Even if you feel comfortable at your job, even if you feel safe, even if they've already told you things here are going good, even if you were like, I'm doing great in my role, last month or so, a raise has came, or the opposite to where you are now underpaid, you feel stuck, things of that sort. But everybody should be doing something, because when this is over with, ask yourself, where are you going to stand? Are you going to come out of this better? Or are you going to find yourself still coming out of this thing confused, unsure, and not really knowing what's next? But this is also the time, guys, to get creative. This is the time to get creative. But what I'm saying is get creative and start to look at new ways that you are able to use your skills. Now, when I say new, I'm not saying to sit there and just kind of think about something you've never thought about. I'm talking about start looking at what is happening around you and starting to identify things that may be trends and stuff like that that you have never really seen before, and see if you can lean on that. For example, I'm seeing people that are really leveraging their personal brand more now. And I think this is a mindset that everybody should have. Now it's not I work for somebody, but now it's I'm my own company. And again, I'm not talking about having a full-time business. I'm talking about you starting to see yourself as an actual business. You are starting to operate with your skill set and stuff like that as a business, not as I'm trying to look for somebody to work for, right? You are, right? But it's the mindset. Now it's a mindset of I'm trying to, look for a place that I can serve with my skills. And I'm trying to look for a place that can actually benefit from my skill set. And then also, on the other hand, I'm always promoting me, not my company. I told y'all before, get y'all company headline out of y'all LinkedIn profile. Do not market them. Get them off of your LinkedIn banner. There are some companies that will pay you. Now, again, it's all going back to a personal brand. If you have a large enough following, I'm hearing now that they will pay their employees to market for them. Cool, because you are now being compensated. But if you just have this whole company pride, and again, there's nothing wrong with you enjoying who you work for, but I don't think that you need to advertise them more than you advertise yourself. I don't think that. I think now everybody needs to be in a mindset to where you are the CEO of you. You are your own business, to where you now are in a mind to promote you. And this is the shift that is happening. I'm thinking that people will kind of awake a lot faster than what I think they are. But I'm thinking, like, have y'all not seen the last 8 or 9 months how people after 25 years of service is being let go with no kind of heads up? They literally sat down to sign on to their computer, and baby, it don't work no more. Username not found. And I'm thinking, you don't have to be 25. I'm thinking, like, if I'm giving you 5 years, I think I should have a little bit of a heads up. And it's the thing, they've been knowing they were going to lay off. These people didn't hop up one day and say, okay, what we're going to do today is lay off 5,000 people. Somebody knew. But again, they are in the business of making them successful, not you. I'm going to say this again. Your company is in the business of making them successful, not you. And the quicker you realize this, the quicker you'll start to prepare and plan for your success. Your company's goals should never be your goals. Now, they hired you so your skill set can help them reach their goals, but their goals ain't got nothing to do with you. All you're doing is just to go in there, doing your job to make sure that you can help them reach their goals. But why are you intertwining your goals with their goals, right? Or you have literally taken their goals and made them yours. Why? I don't understand that. Now, there's nothing wrong with you having a desire to do a good job at your job, right? Like, again, they hired you to help them meet their goals. But just because you are helping somebody to meet their goals does not mean that they are automatically your goals. Your job is to make sure that the environment there can help you reach your goals, that the pay you're getting is enough to help you reach your goals. And that goal could be more money. That goal could be an actual senior role. That goal could be, hey, there are certain skills. So as you're helping them reach their goals, they should be being able to create an environment to where you can reach your goals. But that doesn't happen a lot of times. A lot of times people are so head down, they literally haven't even thought about their goals in months, in years. Now they literally, all they think about is what does this company need? And they're not thinking about their needs. I think there was a post I made this week on LinkedIn, and I started to say how you can actually forecast their success months in advance, but you have not been able to see yours in years. I think something's wrong with that. Absolutely. It's time to shift how you're thinking about yourself. It's time to shift how you're thinking about your career. It's time to shift how you're thinking about your employment. It's not saying to go quit a job. It's just simply saying, where is my focus right now? Because the world is changing. You will either change with it or you will be left behind. There is no more, okay, let me go find a job and stay there, for the next 30, 40 years and die and just build up. That is gone. That is gone. Now we're seeing this whole AI software. This whole AI is starting to let people go and use these software systems. That should let you know it was never about you being successful. So now that you see all of this happening, what are you going to do? How are you going to actually leverage this and put yourself into a position of success? Again, this is not a time of fear. I don't want you guys being scared. I share these things with you guys because I want you guys to be prepared. I'll tell you all the time, I'm not going to be talking about no boring resume tips with y'all. Though resume is important, but let's get prepared for what's next. I had a client I was talking with this week, and I was sharing with her all the ideas of how she can actually monetize her expertise outside of her 9-to-5. And her mind was blown. I said, you don't have to have a full-time business, but you need to be in a business of securing yourself, of knowing that you have a product. Right. And all of this is still about being able to stay competitive. You have a product. You have this. You solve problems at your job every single day. You have been doing it for years. You have gotten better at it. You are awesome at what you do. That is not tied to one company. You are able to take that skill and you can bring it anywhere that you want to. And so when you start to adapt this kind of mindset, you won't feel stuck. You won't feel like, oh, options. I don't really have any options, because you realize you are the product. You are the service. You are the value. You are the expertise. And that follows you. But what tends to happen is that when you're in an environment to where you are not being nurtured, you are not being paid the money you should be being paid, you are not being developed, it breeds self-doubt. It breeds, I don't have enough. It breeds, there's something wrong with me. There's nothing wrong with you. You just haven't been in the right environment to be actually cultivated. And so now you can't be creative. You can't, because you work 8-9 hours a day, probably even more, a lot of you guys, in a little box this small, and your expertise is this big. Company, again, I'm not talking about opening a business. I'm talking about you being able to attract opportunities that is in alignment with what you want, and being able to separate yourself in a competitive market. Let me tell you this, in the market that we're in now, it is not the person that has the most skills. They're not going to win. It is not the one who is the smartest. It is the one that's the most pliable. It's the one who is the most clear. It is the one who is not afraid to go outside of what looks normal. That is the one who is going to be able to survive the time that we're in. And what I hope this is doing, guys, is just encouraging you to say, wait a minute. Why have I been sleeping on myself? Why is it that I feel like I can't do anything? Really start to lean in on that and know that, again, this is not a time to be scared. This is a time to prepare. Okay. And so I want to go back a little bit on personal, you being able to have your own personal brand. This is going to be really important. A lot of times when people think of a brand, they tend to think of, oh, that's for somebody who is really, famous. This is for somebody who has this big business. No, everybody needs to have a brand right now. And having a brand is just simply, what do people think about when they see you? What do people think about when they see you? I want to go back a little bit about you being able to really build your own brand. Okay. So when you're talking about you being able to have a brand, again, it's not about for somebody who is just, oh, this large name. Again, it's about you being able to see yourself as your own company. If you are on LinkedIn, this is the thing. LinkedIn is so underrated right now. You literally have access to everybody on LinkedIn, right? And so the reason why I want to use LinkedIn right now is because for one, I know majority of you guys are on there. And then another thing is that I want you to see how easy it is. So again, when you're talking about having a brand, you're talking about being able to attract opportunities to you, and you're talking about being able to distinguish your value away from your company. Though you still show up at your company and you give value and you operate your expertise, but now I want you to think about, what is my value away from them, and being able to talk about who it is you are and what it is that you do away from them. So when you think about this, having a brand, it's just simply about you being able to make sure that you are shown up in a way to where you can attract opportunities that you want. And so in your career, your brand is going to change, because if you are at right now, you're at like mid-level, right? And your goal is to land senior role, that brand needs to shift, because now how people perceive you needs to actually shift. Okay. So for instance, and I tell people, like, I use this example all the time, Walmart and Target. We both know they pretty much sell the same stuff, right? But they both have what? Different feels. They also have different price points. When I'm in Walmart, I'm thinking about, girl, put you on some sweatpants and some slides and you run it in and out. I do not relax in Walmart. I do not walk down the aisles. I'm in and I'm out. Target, that's my time to relax. I don't even really need nothing. I'm just in Target. I'm just waiting for the things on the shelves to just speak to me and say, buy me. I mean, it's one of those stores where I'm just going to go in there. I don't know if I really need anything. And this did not happen by chance, y'all. This was all Target knew the brand that they wanted. They knew the feel they wanted you to have when you went in there. Anybody ever notice how Target is so like quiet? It's real quiet. Now you go to Walmart, child, you end up hearing gunshots. You could fight. It's a lot that goes on in Walmart. When you think about Target, the atmosphere is really chill. And I really think it's because when you go to Target, they so expensive. So the environment is real calm. So they're trying to calm you down and have you feel good. I mean, it's a whole Starbucks in there. Like, they trying to get you real comfortable to spend that money. When you look at Walmart, where their theme is like, what is it? What is this? What they do? Slash prices or whatever. Like, they're really cheap, right? So it's really bright in there. It's loud. A whole lot of stuff is happening, but it don't really matter, because you're like, okay, I'm gonna grab this. It's cheap. It don't matter. They don't ever have any lanes open. It's just a lot going on. But y'all, this is manufactured. This didn't happen by chance. They did this on purpose, because they want you to be able to feel something when you are around them, right? You got to think about yourself the same way. You got to think about you the same way. What do you want people to feel in the workplace when they are around you? Now, this is not, okay, look, okay, Tarjay, you were absolutely right. And when you are in the workplace, like, what do you want people to feel when they are around you, right? And this is not about you, people, I don't want to be fake. I'm not talking about that. You are still able to be you are still able to be authentic. It's just about, what are you highlighting about yourself? Because remember, when I'm talking about Walmart and Target, they both sell the same kind of stuff, but it's just, what are the features that they really highlight? And so think about that as yourself. So if you're in like mid-level, right, and you're ready to like lead a team or whatever, now it's not so much about what you do, but now it needs to be about how you lead. Though the expertise is still there, but now what you want to highlight is, how do you lead, right? So it's no longer about the results that you bring forth. It's about how I am able to inspire a team to help them to whatever shine, right? So now it's about you being able to just highlight different things. So think about where you are right now, and what is it that you need to be highlighting to attract those opportunities that are aligned, right? So if you do want to move away from just being contributor, and now you are ready to move into more management, now it's not I do. It's I teach, I lead, I instruct, I coach. Also, when you're talking about having a brand, you are also talking about resume. You are talking about your whole page. So all of this is in one. So I don't want you to think that it's separate. Even if you're not looking for a job, you have a brand in your workplace. Even if it's your first time ever hearing about having a brand, you have a brand. You have showed up in a way at work that the people at work do see you in a certain way. Now, if that way is good or bad, then that ain't none of my business. But if you need help with that, let's talk. How you have shown up at work, you do have a brand. So for instance, if you are at work, if you're one that you just kind of blend in with everybody else and you just complain, you are probably seen as one that always has something to say. But you could be one that you see the same problems that everybody else sees, but you come with solutions. And people that come with solutions are seen as a better fit for leadership positions. So a lot of times you may not have been able to advance in the role that you are in simply because you don't come with solutions, you come with complaints. That is the brand that you have. If you are one who just take assignments, you just take tasks. Okay, here, okay, I'll do it. You don't give any feedback on how this task could be streamlined. You are not one that you don't say nothing. All you say is yes. Now you are seen as just a doer. And if you are seen as a doer, you don't get raises. All you get is not in the budget. Not saying that you don't bring value, because if you didn't bring value, you wouldn't be there. But you don't bring enough value to where we see that us being able to invest in you more is worth it. And a lot of people don't get a raise is because you just do what everybody else does. So there's nothing really about you that's special. There's nothing really about you that stands out because you do what everybody else do. Everybody else just takes things on. Again, you have a brand, but it's about, are you in control of that brand? You absolutely are. But if you don't put any time, if you don't think about the brand that you have and how you want people to see you, now that brand is just left in the wind. And especially you guys that are wanting to change careers, meaning that you are wanting to go into something completely different, you need a brand. Because the powerful thing about a brand is that you can control how other people see you, right? So if you are wanting to move into a field where you don't really have a lot of experience in, you can control that. You can control how your expertise is seen. But like I said in the beginning, if you're not clear on what you want, you're not going to know how to brand yourself. You will not know how to take your skills and repackage them. You will not know how to align your skill set with other opportunities. You won't know how to make a quick change if you need to. Because the reality is this, y'all, in times like this, there are certain fields that don't do well. I think I said on my other live stream earlier this week, I was talking about how recruiting in times of recession, they're one of the first people to go. Why? Because they're not hiring nobody. It's the opposite. They're laying off. Ain't nobody being hired. Now, I'm not saying don't go into the field. Remember, I was in the field for over 10 years. I'm not saying don't go into the field. I'm saying have a brand that's so strong. Be clear on the value that you bring. Be so clear on your core skills that you can make a pivot at any time and land flat on your feet. Because you know that I can do this, but I can also do this. So, having a brand that allows you to really flow in and out of fields and maybe you don't have enough experience because now you just position yourself as value. Whereas folks get stuck in one job title. This is all that I know how to do. That's not all that you know how to do. Think about all the results that you brought forth. Think about all the tasks that you do. Half of y'all do stuff y'all weren't even hired for. That wasn't even in your job description. You be like, all I do is, okay, first of all, what we're going to stop doing is saying all I do is, because you're really you just shrink your expertise. In hard times, start to really think about what are those fields. I had a client this week, and so she is in education. She's been there for the last like 10 years, right? So I was sitting down with her and I was helping her to explore other fields and roles that is in alignment with her core skills. And we were talking and she was like, oh my God, I wouldn't even think that I could even do something like this. I say, yes, because all you're thinking about is the tasks you do every day. And you don't think about the results that you bring forth. Because the reality is all businesses, for the most part, guys, are the same. For the most part, they all hold the same core functions. You have customer service, you have sales, you have finance, you have, for the most part, everybody got the same thing, marketing. And a lot of times in your roles, you have a little bit of experience or some kind of touch in all these. And there is a result that you bring forth. People tend to feel stuck in their career because all they focus on, oh, this is what I've done, but you don't think about the result you bring forth. And that is why they hire you. They hire you because they have a problem and they want a result, right? So when you can get clear on how does your skill set operate, what is a result of that skill set brings forth, now you see I have way more other opportunities, right? That I'm not stuck, because now you can now be able to identify these are the problems that I solve. This is what's going to help you to stand out. Identify the problems that you solve. Don't think about a job title. Don't think about a task. It's a thing at this point. Don't even think about your skills just yet. Think about these are the problems that I solve. And because again, a lot of companies have the same problems. Though you may have solved that problem in finance, they got the same problem in marketing, the same problem in sales, right? So when you can be able to identify what are the problems that you are solving, sky's the limit. And then when you can identify the problems that you solve, then you can get clear on how do you solve the problem, which that is how you can stand out. Because sometimes it's not just, only in the result, is how do you get the result that you get? Because you may get the result that you get and it saves them money or it saves them time, whereas somebody else can come with the same result. The result is there, but they wasn't able to do it in the same time length as you. That same one, they wasn't quite able to save as much time as you did. So start thinking about the problem that you solve, the process in which you solve it, and how does that result, like what does that result link to? So for instance, let me give you an example, okay? So let's say that you are a project manager, right? And this is a very vague example I'm using because, even when it comes to that field, there's so many other ways that you can even do that, right? But let's say that you are one that you manage projects. First, what you want to think about when you have to manage one, right? Think about what parts of the project comes easy. I know that we tend to want to think about what is it that we do well or good, which I think is good. But first, think about what part of that comes easy, meaning that it don't really take much out of me. I just do it. It's really easy to me. Then what you want to think about, what is it that you do well? And then what you want to think about next is what brings the most impact. Now, there's a lot more that I can say about this example, but I won't. But I want to give you this little piece to start off with. And this is what you call your value proposition. This is what you call your secret sauce. This is what you call your expertise. The thing that you do easy, the thing that you do well, and the thing that brings the most impact. Now, where your money is, where your salary increase is what brings the most impact. Meaning, like, where is most of the success at? When I say success, not for you, but for them, what part of that result brings them the most success? And what part of that result is the most important to them? And this is why when you're talking about having a whole value proposition, this can change depending on who you work for. Again, remember, when you're clear on the problems that you solve, when you're clear on the results that you bring forth, you can flow in and out of stuff. You need me to be that for you? I can be that. You need me to do that? I can do that. Why? Because you know your zones. You know the impacts. And I say impacts with an S because you most definitely probably have more than one, right? Knowledge breeds confidence. Knowledge breeds confidence. So the more you learn about something, the more confident you will be. This is why a lot of you feel unsure in your career. It's because you don't know. You don't know where you're going. You don't know what that next move is. You don't know the value you bring, right? Because even when it comes to that, I notice that people are either in two different boats. They either want somebody to come in and show them the value that they have, or they want somebody to just see it, meaning that I don't want to have to talk about it. I would rather just overwork myself and just hope that they just see. Either one of those, you either don't know your value or you scared to talk about it, right? But again, when I was talking about this job space that we're in, gonna have to get comfortable talking about yourself. And we have to reframe how we see that, because we was raised that it's just bragging on yourself, right? No, it's not. You are positioning yourself. You are putting yourself in a place to where, again, remember I said earlier, being able to think about your career as its own company. You are your own company. You decide who do you want to contract your skills to, right? Having that mindset alone is going to allow you to feel more in charge, right? Having that mindset alone is going to allow you to feel like I got options, because you do have options. Like I said earlier, we're definitely in a tough space, but the opportunities are still there. The opportunities are still there. It's more about, hey, am I putting myself in a position to attract those opportunities? And you can only do that when you have two things: clarity and strategy. You can only set yourself up for success when you have clarity and strategy. Okay. I want you guys to change your mindset about the interview process. First of all, when you get in that seat or on that Zoom now, folks do everything online now. You're not starting from scratch. They picked you. They called you. They saw something. I did hiring for like my first probably 6 or 7 years in HR, and then I moved over into talent management. But for the first, I've never, ever, 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 ever called somebody in for an interview that I could not see myself hiring. Nobody is going to waste their time with you like that. So if they called you in, they see something. Now, they may not know everything, There's still some gaps in there, right? But that's up to you to go in and fill those gaps. But you're not starting from scratch because they see something. They see something there. But it's up to you to be able to know your expertise enough and to be able to know their problems enough that now you can fill those gaps in. Absolutely right. I tell people, even that process, don't look at it as I'm going to go in so they can pick me. No, this is a business opportunity. Remember, friend, you is a company. You are a company. I'm going to go in to talk about a business opportunity and see if this works for me and if it works for them. So now this process of, oh my God, hire me. Now this process is just a conversation. Because remember, they called you in. It was a job you saw online, you applied, but they like, oh, okay. So now you're able to sit down with them and just simply have a conversation. And I tell people, it's not about you selling yourself. It's about you being able to provide them the right information and with enough information for them to see if this works well. And it's about you being able to ask the right questions to make sure that this opportunity aligns with you as well, right? And so you being able to take that mind shift of, I'm not coming in here to impress, I'm coming to vet. I need to see if this opportunity is in alignment with what I need and want. That's it. Right. So when you take off that hire me, oh my God, I got to make sure that everything I say is right. It's not about saying the right answers. It's about saying the real answers. And a lot of you guys end up with jobs that you don't like because you lied through the whole thing. You ignored every red flag because all you thought about was just getting the job. You did not think about, is this even in alignment with what I want? Do you even know what you want? Look, they got a problem. Anytime you see a job ad, that is them saying, we have a problem. That is what a job ad is. We have a problem. We're looking for somebody to come solve this problem for us. So you are an asset. They're not doing you a favor by hiring you. This relationship is transactional. You have a problem. My skill set solves that. My skill set solves that problem. Okay. And then you pay me for that. Transactional. And when you start saying all I do is, if it wasn't that huge of a deal, if it did not impact their success in some way, they wouldn't have a job for it. So stop saying, oh, all I do is. They created a whole position for it. It's needed. Even now with all of these people being laid off, the work ain't going nowhere. These companies are not saying, okay, y'all, times are getting tough. So what we got to do is just erase these jobs. They didn't erase the jobs. They erased the people that was in the jobs, but the work's still there. So what they do is they just pile on the work to the people that's still there, but the rent ain't going nowhere. This is why it's the perfect time to ask for a raise. I don't know why people be thinking at a client, and this was like in COVID. This was like this was COVID. Like ain't nobody. I helped to get a $25,000 raise. You go, oh no, this is the worst time ever. Alicia, they just laid off all these people. You're so right. And now we know they got the money because them being able to lay off these 10 people. That was what. Oh, hold on, y'all. My math is not good. You know, if you got 10 people and you paying them. Well, I'm gonna go low. 85 a year. What is that? $850,000 now? And you scared to ask for a raise, baby? We know they got the money. Perfect time to ask for a raise. Why? Because their work is probably on you now, and so now you even have more leverage. If you don't ask for a raise, at the very least, get a bonus check, get something. But all of this, you laid off all these people. So now I'm just going to sit here and just be quiet. And again, with these companies laying off, it's business. But at the same time, it does not mean that it does not give you a right to speak up for yourself or ask for the things that you need. It does not mean that you cannot say, hey, I know that we just laid off a lot of people. I know that this is a hard time for everybody right now. And I know that the team we will probably have to do more work to just carry the load. I want to know if you guys have a plan. What's the plan? Because what the plan can't be is you can't fire all these people and all this work is just on me and there's no timeline. I haven't been told if I'm gonna get any extra support. We haven't been told nothing. All you've been told was here. No, ma'am. No, sir. This is not the time to feel like I don't have a voice. This is not the time for that. This is the time to ask for what you need. Now, this is not saying to go in there and be rude, but this is a time to not be afraid. And if you are afraid, ask yourself why. Why is it that you feel like they can just take, and you can't ask for nothing? Mm-mm. And if you are in an environment that's like that, it's time to rethink some things. It's time to rethink where you are. And it's also time for you to be able to rethink, why is it that I feel like I'm stuck here? Okay. So everybody feel served this morning? I believe that's all the points that I wanted to cover in this live stream. No, but really, I really want you guys to be able to look at what is it going to take for you to be able to stay in this competitive job market. And the worst thing you can do is shrink. The worst thing you can do is go hide. The worst thing you can do is nothing. So even if you're not wanting to look for a job, think about, am I still getting prepared for what is next or what could be next, right? Because it doesn't matter how safe you feel, you could be next, And so if you guys want even more support on how to get clear on where you are, where is it that you want to go? What are those action steps? Send me a message. Let's see how we're able to work one-to-one. And I also have an option where I have a group called The Best You. It is about you being able to get personal development, career advancement, and leadership. And so I'm going to go ahead and give you guys back the rest of your day. And I will talk to you guys later. Bye.